Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back. So today's video is going to be a very quick guide that's mostly going to be relevant to people that have never played a Digimon Story game before. Also, as been the case with all my recent Digimon tip videos, I will be showcasing content from areas of the game that are not available to the public, whether that be through the PAX demo that was recently available, the demo that's public right now, or what have you. I and a few others were invited personally by Bandai Namco to play Digimon Story Time Stranger early, and a lot of what you're seeing on screen is from that playtest. Anyways, today we're going to be basically going over how to obtain more Digimon and the sort of quote capture mechanic that the game has, which realistically isn't technically a capture mechanic, but I digress. If you want to know how to get more Digimon, why some de-digivolved Digimon are blacked out, how to get stronger versions of your Digimon, and more, this is a video for you. That said, make sure to sit back, relax, subscribe for more monster taming videos, and let's dive in. Okay, so when it comes to capturing Digimon, you don't actually capture them. Instead, you basically scan the essence of said Digimon that you face. You then recreate them using the convert option in the game's menu. What's different from previous Digimon Story games is that this time around, you actually don't get the scan rate of a Digimon, which I'll talk about in a second, until after defeating them. Whereas in Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory, you could effectively just encounter Digimon and then run away to get that scan rate up. Now, what is the scan rate? The scan rate is essentially a number that goes from 0 to 100%, which indicates whether or not you'll be able to convert that Digimon. Each time you encounter one, it'll go up by a certain amount. This can be affected by the Digimon stage. So if it's like in training, you're going to get more percentage per encounter versus if it's a mega level, you're going to get less. Once you get that number up to 100%, you can now create that Digimon as mentioned previously. That said, if you keep scanning a Digimon after reaching 100, you can actually get it all the way up to 200, at which point you can create a much stronger version of that Digimon, as they put it. And I personally do recommend you do this for each Digimon you want to create. Essentially, when you have a Digimon that's at 200%, it starts out with a higher talent, which is responsible for giving it bonus stats, so basically giving it a head start, as increasing this value will typically require you to perform evolutions and de-digivolutions. Now, this is the main way to obtain Digimon. However, that being that this is a Digimon game, there are also a very intricate amount of evolutions, which allow you to, as stated previously, digivolve up and down between the stages. Once your Digimon has reached a certain threshold in terms of stats, it can be digivolved into one of its many options. And one way to get a lot of Digimon filled out is to digivolve into one branching path, de-digivolve to the previous form, and then train it back up and digivolve it to an alternate form. Each time you train it up to get its stats to meet the threshold, it'll be easier and easier because of the bonus stats that carry over between evolution and de-digivolution. This can also be good for certain Digimon that require really big stats or a high talent in order to evolve. This is how I got Luchamon, I don't know how to pronounce this thing's name, in Hacker's Memory, which requires a really high talent from Tokomon and in training 2 Digimon. So in order to get that up, I would evolve it into its higher stages, level it up as I went through the story, and then de-digivolved it and repeated until I reached that threshold. Now, one thing to keep in mind is just because you have an evolved form of something doesn't necessarily mean you can de-digivolve into that form. If I haven't discovered Patamon, for example, but I have an Angemon, I can't simply just de-digivolve it into Patamon. I will have to have discovered that first naturally. Just as a side note, which is relevant here, but it doesn't really fit in its own video, I guess. But you also have another option when it comes to managing your Digimon. You, of course, can convert, which creates new Digimon, as well as digivolve, but there's also an option to do something that's called loading, which is basically the process by which you take a bunch of Digimon that you don't need and essentially feed them to a Digimon in order to boost its experience points. The amount of XP is based on the Digimon that are being sacrificed, their stage, their level, etc. But yeah, don't be afraid to convert extra Digimon in order to strengthen one, because once you've hit 200% on a particular Digimon species, it's not like that'll overflow and give you 200% the next time you try to convert it. You're basically just wasting your encounters if you don't create a Digimon of that species. But yeah, that pretty much concludes our really short guide on how to capture Digimon in Digimon Story Time Stranger. I do hope that this was helpful to anybody who hasn't yet played the game, or for those that just came to see more gameplay. Also, if you want more information on evolution, I do have a video linked below going over that, as well as some other guides. I'll link the playlist. I've got a few now. So once again, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we're going to be going all in with Digimon Story Time Stranger, and this channel covers monster taming as a chief focus. Special thanks to our supporters, especially Wrathful Beast, Candy Marunci, Tragsoft, Valorware, and Nemo, and I'll see you next time. Peace.